Howdy chaps, welcome back to another fantastic episode where this one is a little bit different. I have acquired some stuff. I better actually give you a rundown of what's happened since the last video and what's turned up. Alrighty chaps, now this video series is going to be a bit different because there'll be tank people and there'll be car people and they won't like the same stuff. So if you're a tank person, skip the car boring stuff. If you're a car person, skip the tank stuff. Can't really make everybody happy, so I'm just going to have to do a thing and everybody's just going to have to find their bit of the video that's something that they like. Alright, so it's been a few weeks because I've been busy. I finished the wagon, passed Regency, got Rego, it's currently for sale. I sold the XB, yes, gone. That's going to head to a place near Wodonga, Albury, so if you're in that region, that's where it's going to be living now. And I have bought a World War II tank. That's pretty much the gist of it. I'll show you what it is now. So actually, if you see, that's the wagon. It's currently for sale. It's just happens to be in here at the moment, but we have been working. We cleared the shop out a little bit, and this is what I bought. I got a lot of help from the lovely chap that I went and visited in Victoria. Not going to say names or exact locations because it's not really fair to him, but he helped me out immensely with this, put me onto the right people. This is, or should I say past tense, was an M3 Stuart. It's not an M3A3, which is the most common ones. This is an early M3, and this particular one has actually got combat history, or I guess, I don't know if it, you just never know, but I do have photos of this exact tank, of how it was in World War II. This particular one, which is hull number 1554, which is there, this served in a place in Papua New Guinea called Buna, and it was part of the attack there on the Japanese. So this particular tank has actually seen action, whereas a lot of them, you know, this day and age you can't really confirm it, but I can, and this one was there. And as always, the compressor kicked in right in the middle of saying something. I never turned it off. I was able to clean off some of the dirt and find some of its original paint. So yes, it was green. I sold a green car and got a green tank. Some of the bits are looking a bit sad, but if you're in the tank game, you know that any parts are good parts. I was particularly happy to find this thing still had some of its armour plate on the back, and I did get quite a bit of upper hull with the vehicle as well. It's amazing how many people who have thought they were strong tried to lift that. That piece I reckon weighs 100 and be at least 100 kilos. Those two bits there. It's amazing how many people think they can lift it. Now I have been cleaning it out a bit, so she looks a bit empty, but there's still lots and lots to do. As you'll see a bit later on, I'm just trying to clear out the junk, and yes, I have had to do this video after the next bit of time lapse, but you'll figure it out. I'm just currently trying to get the junk off the floor that's not supposed to be there, because this was turned into a tractor at some point in time, and it is so common that it happens. They are always, immediately after the war, they are turned into farm machineries. So I've got some of the side armour. Well, actually I don't have any of the side armour, but I got one of the blocked off machine gun ports, the side of the co-driver's hatch. I got the half of the top deck, some of the back. This is the very back panel, which bolts on here. I've got the front with a driver's hatch. It's the wrong driver's hatch, but it's still something to make a pattern from. I've got somewhere I've got the lower half of the driver's door, and that's some of the front glacier plate as well. And I've got some one's a transmission oil cooler and one's an engine oil cooler, and they mount on the firewall. And I have an engine lined up for this, which is a 7-cylinder radial, but I need to sell that thing up there before I can purchase it. But I have one lined up, which is complete, so I will have a motor for this thing. So yeah, they've got to go back in once they're cleaned up. They've got to go back in. That's your accelerator and your clutch. Now it's one of your seat brackets. Some of the road wheels are looking a bit sad, unfortunately. I did have a bit of a cracking idea. I wonder if you could use an unholy amount of urethane and make a road wheel out of that. Don't know. Have to figure that out. My gearbox is currently seized at the moment. A bit of water has got into it, and some of the bearings are currently frozen. I do think they'll come good. I have had the diff spinning, not the pinion gear and the crown wheel, but the spider gears, they spin, so you can spin one wheel, one drive sprocket one way and the other one will go the other way. And yeah, and I cut out the well, I guess you can see the original linkage for the driver's stick that was chopped in half, and then a big honking bar was extended. So I think the controls for this vehicle were relocated to sort of up high, so I've got to sort of put them back where they were. And the floor of this thing was covered in like 3 inches of dirt and grease and oil and mud and stuff, so the old boy will be cleaning this during the week, and I'm going to do a bit of it today. For the uninitiated, that's where your co-driver's 30 cal machine gun comes out of there. And I was very happy to get this piece because it's a big piece of cast steel and very hard to reproduce. The upper hull and the turret, yes, I will have to get it redone. I've got to find someone who's very good with CAD drawings to be able to help me with this, otherwise I'm going to have to figure out the rest myself. But you know, there's some good bits on this thing. This lower section hasn't been, nobody's run an oxy torch through it, which is common. This hasn't been cut. That's still nice. They've just taken the rivets out. The battery box is still sort of, the bracketry is still there. The battery would live here. So a lot of it's still here, just some of it's a bit sad. But yes, it is a particularly historic vehicle, which is why I was happy to get it. I mean, I was fortunate. I had 2 to choose from, and luckily they were local to me actually. Only an hour from home. Could not believe my luck. But I had 2 to choose from, and I chose this one on its historic Vector, and the other one didn't have the sort of these rear plates, and these were cut on it. But in hindsight, the other one did have a better transmission because it was running not that long ago. I mean, it had a different engine, but at least all the gearbox and that was running in the other one. So, but I chose the vehicle which had a better hull. So it's got the sides, and the sponsons haven't been cut, so it's, you know, and it's not too bad. The other one had a lot of junk, a lot more junk inside of it. So some of this stuff's really heavy. I've got my fuel tanks with it too, which are one there, and they're in great condition. I'll have to clean them internally, but and that's the back of, I think, the battery box, which that piece would go right here. What I'm going to do is I'm not going to put the back on this tank on just yet, because this will be really easy to fix. This is just I think it's called TFC or something like that. That's a piece that goes across there to here. I'm not going to put that back in yet, and I'm not going to put the back plate on this yet until I've cleaned the floor and had it lovely, because I can actually walk in and out the back of this real easy. So once that's all looking beautiful, then I'll start rebuilding and making it harder to get into. But a lot of it's still there. I mean, you can see how much, just, yeah. Oh, there's a spade mount in the back of it still, or a shovel. So it's in good nick. You might not think it, but this is good. All I got to do is get that gearbox to free up a bit and cut off all this, you know, that bit junk, that bit, some of that. That's the half of the fuel tank mount supposed to be there. Cut that one off. Start cleaning it. I don't know if I'll sandblast this or not, because I just won't have the money to do that, and it's logistically a pain in the proverbial to move this. It cost a fair amount of coin to get it from where it was to here. So I'm thinking, you know, I'm an R-ing that I might wire wheel it and then coat it with an anti-rust paint. I don't think it's really necessary to sandblast it completely. And I don't have the endless amounts of money. I'll just, it's my tank and I'll do it exactly how I want, but I just think I can work with that. I mean, it's lasted it's 80 years old, this vehicle, and it's got this far and it's still got white paint in areas, so yeah, look at that. So I think I'll just do it at my own pace, in my own leisure. But I'm very, very happy I got it, and I'm immensely grateful to the awesome chap who helped me in Victoria. I will be forever in debt to him, because these are impossible to find, and as far as I'm aware, there's only 4 of them in South Australia. There probably is more, but I don't know of them, and not many people others. But I have been offered to look, because there is a running Stuart at the Edinburgh Museum that I have been told that I can get my peepers on and have a measure of things and whatnot. But I thought I'd just show this vehicle off and show that I'm not stopped on the EJ. I just need to get that sold first, because then I'm going to buy my guards and my other 3 door skins as well. So that's going to make progress. Work is going to continue like normal. So just thought I'd give you a bit of an update, a rundown, show off my latest acquisition, and we might do some time lapse of me working on it. So basically I'm just going to try and just get that junk off the floor. I might have to oxy it and then grind it smooth, because I'm tripping on it at the moment. I don't want to. And then maybe we'll try and shovel out some of this. I've got to get this off too. That's not supposed to be there either. And then clean the floor. So I'll just set up a time lapse and you can just watch and wonder. But I hope you enjoy it. Alrighty, as you can tell, it's not a terribly glamorous job, and I don't really want to bore you with endless amounts of videoing while I just sit there and grind off that junk that's on the floor. But as you can see, I've had to oxy through it, but then the oxy's taken a long time because it's quite thick, and I just worked out my oxygen bottle is nearly empty, so it's losing its oomph. So I will catch you up once I've got that off, and as you can see, there's quite a bit of junk down there, and we'll play it by ear. There's still mountains and mountains of junk, but it is coming off the floor, so the floor is good. Some of that floor has still got what is a bluey grey colour on it, so it's got paint on it, so some of the floor is immaculate. And you can sort of see where the transmission cover went, the tail shaft cover should I say. So yeah, my goal is in the first is clean it out and cut the junk out that doesn't need to be here, and then we can clean up what we got and assess and then start going forward. Now I will admit this tank is probably going to take me the better part of half my life to finish, but I thought I'd show off a little win that I had. Now these are one of the control levers, tillers, whatever you want to call it. This is how you steer the tank. It basically pulls on a brake and it slows down one side of the vehicle and starts turning. So on the top of this stick is a, well, you could almost call it a handbrake. Now these are rusted solid, and I consider that a win, because when you're in driving, this is going to be really hard with one hand. This is like that. In that position, the pin is pulled up and it can't engage these gears, which normally would be down there. But when you want to park the vehicle and make sure it's not going to move, you can put the brakes on, twist the top of that, that puts that down, yank it into position, basically pulls on a handbrake. But I was particularly happy that this now moves, and I didn't want to put any heat to free this up. I just sandblasted a little bit and just tapped it with a hammer. I didn't want to put any heat near this because it'll wreck the spring that's in there, but it seems to be working beautifully now. Just thought I'd show off a little win. Alrighty, I've done some more. Got the stick in and looking lovely. Now for those who don't know, and if I do this, because obviously I've only got one in at the moment, I don't know if you can see over there, that's moving, and then this giant brake band is grabbing onto this sort of disc that spins. Now I have had a little, the unfortunate thing about this thing is somebody at some point took the cover off, which is here, put it back on but didn't seal it. And this tank originally came from the Blue Mountains, and it rains a lot there, and some stuff happened, and some water has ingressed into the final drive gearboxes, or the diff and the gearbox. Now I've spent ages with this. I've actually managed to, I don't think it's that bad really. It's condensation and a greasy, like if this had had the cover off completely, then it would be absolutely stuffed, but it actually isn't that bad. I mean, some of it's not good, but considering the chances of getting another, you know, if I put my hand in here, look at the size of that thing. That's a crown wheel that's like truck sized, I think, and the pinion and the gears. So I've put 20 litres of diesel fuel in there at the moment. Wow, it's expensive, it's like 50 bucks, to try and lubricate it a bit. I've got the, I guess you could call them spider gears, the ones, so if that one was going that way, the other one will go that way, and all these gears in here are all free, and these drums spin. As you can see, they're actually starting to clean up already, and I've only just discovered that I've gotten, just literally just that second, I've got the whole diff rocking backwards and forwards, so this is now free of the rust that was in there. So what I've been doing, I've been using this old Tom Thumb, so I've been putting this down into the diesel fuel and pumping it up and splashing it up the top and back in there every time I need to basically pour more fuel in to wash out the rust. Actually works really well. You can see where these and that were together for a long time, but they're not that bad. I mean, ideally it would be nice in the perfect world if it didn't get exposed to the rain, but I mean, that's just life. It's not the end of the world. I've seen people fix worse than this. And considering it's 80 years old, man, and it's not like, the theory is you're not going to cross the country with that diff, because, you know, if the entire time that I have it, you know, it does maybe 1,000 kilometers of travel, that'll be incredible. So we're not talking, you know, you don't have to get hundreds of thousands of kilometers out of this thing. No, it's going to do skimming things won't do a whole lot, so it should be fine for that. I mean, eventually it breaks, so well, game over then, game over, mate. But I'm very happy, so I'm starting to get it to free up. I don't think it's that bad, I just think it's condensation that's just put a little, you know, this orange, sort of very light orange rust, just coated that on things and they're just stuck. That, and there was no oil in it too, so all the oil that was in it is now grease, so it's all got to just spend time freeing up. But I do know that this brake does work extremely well, so I can lock that on, and I've been using the old jack on the sprocket drives, put the jack on it and then release the handbrake, and it'll jolt all that, and it'll spin all the gears and stuff while that wheel goes. So it's working quite well. I need to get a proper grinding disc for getting that off the floor. I should have actually shown this in this video. I don't know how exciting these tank restoration videos are going to be, but you know, I'm doing it as the average man. But this is actually the tank, so 1554. When they arrived, they didn't get their normal T number, they got their hull number painted on the side really quickly. So that is that tank, which is incredible, really. I've also got to figure out how to get these giant screws out. I've tried some heat and I just can't shift them. I need a socket with a flat blade on the end of it, effectively. But progressing along quite nicely. I'm happy to have that stick back in, because all the other linkages on that side were all seized up. So now, slowly but surely, I will get it all freed up. So we've got a bit of movement on, I think it's second and third, because I reckon this is first in reverse. We've just got to get this big bearing in the front there, I reckon, on the pinion to free up and start spinning, and then all these ones are all I don't think they're horrendously bad. I just think it's, well, I can tell you that it hasn't done anything for the last 30 years, which never does anything a power of good. And I've got to get bloody compressor. You want to shut up? Shut up! So that one moves. So yeah, basically I just got to get them freed up, and then we'll be laughing. Still haven't got this to budge yet, but I think that's got something to do with all the gears in there. They're all monstrous gears. I got to get I think there's a little button, like a handbrake type thing, but I know it's a lockout that operates that. So it's in neutral, and we can get that gear to move a little bit, but third and fourth don't budge, and neither does first and reverse. But I'd say that's got something to do with those gears not moving. But we're getting there. There's lots of original paint on the floor. I don't know if they were blue or a greyish colour when they were new. I thought they were all white on the inside, but incredible, the floor's still got paint on it. But I guess if you have a leaking transmission, it's going to obviously look after the floor. I know it doesn't seem like much, but this is, like, owning a tank has been my dream since I was like knee-high to a grasshopper. So you will have to put up with some tank related videos. We will endeavour to get this cleaned out and then start working forward. It shouldn't be that hard. We need to get some things made. So I've got the piece that goes here, the piece that goes here, and the main T-piece that goes on the front where your visors go on. So I need to make the piece that goes here, here, the two sides, the other half of the top, the engine deck, and that sort of one that goes down there, and obviously fabricate a turret as well. So it's going to be a big project. Just got to work out if that bracket's supposed to be there. I don't want to cut anything off That's not supposed to. It looks like it's riveted on, so it's not too bad. I don't have any of the Spalding shielding. I think it's basically a material that goes between the steel and a piece of tin, so that's all missing as well. But yeah, I might have to take this gun mount out eventually too, so I can clean down in there. I don't think I can show it too well, but it is filthy. But I thought I'd show off that the inside of the gearbox and whatnot. I mean, if anybody's got some sort of magical jungle juice that can dissolve rust without doing any damage to the gears, I'd be very interested to hear. But that works, and then you can lock it like that. That's pretty neat, eh? Yeah, that way. And I've got to get these 4 holes here cleared up so I can get the other guy in, fix that, and then I should have the 2 arms in, and then down there you can see 3 holes. That's where my pedals are going to go. I've got to do all of this cleaning and making everything work and functional before I go to the effort to make this glacier plate, because then it's insanely hard to get down here. And I'm not exactly a skinny guy. I am quite fond of the donut or two. But I think I'll wrap up the video here, and I really hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll keep you updated as we go along. It's going to be a long project. I mean, I got slightly annoyed by people saying, oh, it's a big project. Yes, I know, Blind Freddy could have told you that by the feel of it. I'm aware, I don't need to be told the obvious. But I have an M3 Stuart that served with the Australian Army. I think it was the 2nd 6th Australian Armoured Regiment. I could get that wrong, but I think that was the mob. And it saw combat with the Japanese 80 years ago. I think it was the 18th of December they sent them in. So this one's got some history about it. But yes, I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll catch you on the next one. Probably car related too, by the way. I've just got to get some EJ parts first. So, see you around, chaps.